are there. In the aftermath of this incident, Mayor Jackson wisely invited the Department of Justice back to Cleveland to evaluate its division of police. These discussions and negotiations continue, but the end result should be a better trained police force that looks to de-escalate dangerous situations, builds bridges to the community, and embraces a new culture of accountability. And let me say at this point that no one appreciates or loves the police more than prosecutors. Every time I drive through the graveyard, I think of the burials I have been to and the friends I have lost and the people who have dedicated their lives to the city, sometimes lost their lives in the line of duty. Do not mistake this for some anti-police prosecution. This is a pro-police prosecution, pro-citizen prosecution, and I appreciate the support that I have received from a great number of police on the job and retired throughout this effort, who recognize that this will make a better police department if we have better discipline, if we have better supervision, better training, and more numbers as they're seriously understaffed. Lesson number 8, Cleveland has agreed to have an independent police agency handle future use of deadly force investigations. And this office encourages all cities in this county to do likewise. We are looking at patterns across the country. We have patterned from taking cities in the Southwest as our actual pattern. We've already done this successfully. The Cuyahoga County Sheriff Cliff Pinckney has agreed to assume this important responsibility for Cleveland, and a task force has been formed to handle these use of deadly force investigations. We appreciate the funding of Cuyahoga County and the executive Budish that has provided this. This is an expense to the county and a great expense to form this task force and to do these independent investigations. You have seen from this trial and others that it takes a great deal of time and investigation to do the scientific and other investigation necessary to examine a case. The City of Cleveland agreed to use the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation to independently investigate this Heritage Middle School case. And the Bureau of Criminal Investigation did a tremendous job at great time and expense. At times there were 25 to 40 individual detectives working on this case. And I want to personally thank Attorney General Mike DeWine and his commitment to justice. It's greatly appreciated. He has shown a commitment to justice throughout the state. He's been a great Attorney General. He has shown his commitment to, he's been like no other Attorney General in my lifetime. And he has demonstrated money, commitment, time, and manpower to prosecute whether it be deadly force cases or the rape kit cases, which he's made Ohio the leader in the nation in solving these untested rape kits. Lesson number 9. Better laws can discourage felony high-speed failure to comply chases and their subsequent violent endings by imposing higher and mandatory penalties on the fleers. We also need laws that mandate safer, and we have done this in the past. I led a law in the late 90s that made some mandatory penalties. It's since been reduced. We are seeking to have the higher penalty reimposed. We also need laws that mandate safer policies and more accountability from police departments in high-speed chases. It creates accountability and incentive. These laws will reduce the dangers to innocent motorists and to other police officers. Nearly a person dies a day in America from these high-speed chases. And we've never seen a high-speed chase like this before. In lesson number 10, the final lesson I'm going to cite here today that we appreciate, strong leadership and sound decision-making within the police department by those sergeants and lieutenants who are actually in the field and have responsibility to call off unduly dangerous pursuits is absolutely essential. They have to have control. These supervisors must carefully weigh the risk to the public versus the real danger imposed by a fleeing suspect. Can police identify the offender by other means via license plates? Is this a traffic ticket or a murder he's fleeing? Is it day or night? Light or heavy traffic? The distance covered, the speeds, etc. And most important, is the offense or offender being chased worth the real risk of killing innocent civilians or other police? These are difficult decisions that must be made in the field, and that's why there's rules and regulations regarding numbers of officers that can be involved and how closely they should be monitored. Each individual police officer can call off his or her own chase. And in this case, many officers did, and we appreciate the fact, and it should be noted, that police officers and leaders in the 1st, 4th, and 5th districts refused to allow their own cars to join this massive chase that grew out of control on November 29th. And going forward, the policy of this office will continue to be all use of deadly force cases by police in Cuyahoga County will be reviewed and decided by the grand jury, as was this case. After a complete and thorough investigation, the results will be presented to the grand jury, and any additional evidence from that grand jury, the grand jury's desire to have additional evidence, will be obtained and presented to them as requested. If that grand jury believes that the civilian death at the hands of the police was not a justifiable use of deadly force under Ohio law and the guidelines created by the Supreme Court of the United States, then the grand jury will bring charges against those involved and we will prosecute. This ultimately, in all cases, or thus ultimately in all cases, the decision will go back to the people. It is also the policy of this office to make public the independent investigations of police actions. We did so in this case with the BCI investigation, a voluminous accounting of the investigation. Our pursuit of justice for Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams is not over. 5 Cleveland police supervisors have been charged with dereliction of duty by the grand jury and will be prosecuted by this office for failing to control the reckless and potentially deadly police chase that ensued in this case. We look forward to presenting another vigorous prosecution on behalf of the state of Ohio, the people of Cuyahoga County, and the victims' families. Today's verdict is part of a sea of change that began over 2 years ago with this case and others across the nation. This case prompted the United States Department of Justice and Governor John Kasich and the Attorney General Mike DeWine to investigate the patterns and practices of police departments, including Cleveland's, around the state. These investigations have highlighted areas where help is needed or deficiencies exist, including training, accountability, and transparency. Although not fully implemented, changes for the better have already begun. This is a different country than it was 2.5 years ago on November 29th. The Department of Justice investigation continues, and we are confident practices will improve and benefit the city of Cleveland from whatever the results of their findings and agreement is. Our goal is to improve the quality of justice that our citizens receive. This tragic experience has already forced a culture change within the Division of Police and a needed re-examination of the use of deadly force. The end result will be less secrecy, additional transparency, and accountability. Citizens and police themselves will be the safer for it. This was a challenging case, no doubt, but I would not hesitate to do it again if the facts and the law demand it. I was proud of our effort to seek justice in this case, and we will continue to seek justice on behalf of the people. I do not want to answer questions that are sought to inflame the situation, so I will entertain questions through emails. And anybody has an email, we will carefully respond to it. I thank you for covering this case. Joe Froelich will give you the email address to send it to, and I thank you very much and conclude this press conference.
If you have questions, you can send them to me.